I do believe the camera is rolling.
Well, Chris is trying to, okay, well, we'll just talk loud for a second. A, I just apologize for Jeff and I being a few minutes late. There's a meeting going on over at the community center on the community water system that's under review right now through the DEP, and there's a presentation to the neighbors who are being affected by it, so that's where Jeff and I were, and it's still happening, but we left, and that's just why we're a few minutes late. So welcome. Okay, can everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Does anybody have anything that they want to add to the agenda? Or can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll move to accept the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, so, let me just look real quick. Do we have anybody who would like to speak during public input? Okay, Ira?
Am I the only one?
I don't know, it doesn't matter. You can speak even if you
Yeah,
are.
I just didn't hear.
Well, let Chris get you the microphone.
Thank you. A number of months ago, I don't remember exactly how many months ago, the board appropriated, I believe it was $3,000 to get assistance to the assessor to kind of try to straighten out the assessments that are wrong, that are not, the proper assessment for the property or whatever they are. I don't know if anything has been done on that. I do know that apparently some of the, I think it's 401As have been switched to Bs, which is where they really belong, which allows the town law to charge these people who are not paying taxes a certain amount of tax. So I understand. However, I did find out one thing that was a little upsetting today. Apparently your BAR can override the town law. Now, this strikes me as a bit unequitable. You have a bunch of unelected, not responsible to anybody people with the authority to override a town law that was put in place to help the citizens. I just didn't think that's right, and I think it certainly should something that the board should be looking into as to whether or not a group of people like that should have that kind of authority to override town law. Also, what I wasn't able to find out about, which was something that I was hoping that would be done with the assistance of an assistant for the money, would be all those misclassified 400s in the town and village who are classified as 200s would be reclassified to the proper classification. Not that it would make any difference at this point into the tax base or how much taxes you would receive, but it's a starting point if you felt that those that are not paying their fair share should through various means. But you can't do that if they're classified as single homes and not businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ira. And we'll check into the legality of what you said, in terms of them being able to override local law. I don't, we'll check into it, okay? So definitely. Is there anybody else who would like to speak during public comment? Nobody? Okay. So I just have one quick announcement that we have that will be up in the supervisor's office if anybody wants to look through it, is we were just given the review and file. This is a copy of the papers filed in opposition to the motion for leave to appeal to the Court of Appeals. We'll be notified, as soon as the court decides on whether to permit an appeal. This has to do with our wetlands lawsuit that has been appealed a number of times, and so it's now at the highest court, and a decision of whether or not to allow the appeal to go forward is being looked at, and so we got a copy of the report that we authorized, so I just have this, and it'll be upstairs. So with that, we can move on to the meeting at work. So the first order of business is that we're going to be doing proudly an official swearing in of our new lieutenant, Robert Lucchese. So we're thrilled to death that the board was able to promote Rob Lucchese, create the lieutenant. We're absolutely delighted to have them representing our town as lieutenant, and we would like to invite him up here for an official swearing in by our town clerk. So please join us, and if everybody would stand up and
once he's
Well, after you get sworn in, then we'll, you
right,
gotta come
fair
back. So everybody wants to sit down so the camera can get him, and we can get it on TV. We'll stand. Okay. Okay, do you want to use the microphone, or? Yeah, use the microphone. Why don't you hold it, Chief, so they can both,
I'll be the,
yes.
mic holder.
Okay.
Repeat after me.
I, Rob Lucchese,
I solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
You want to say anything, Rob?
Thank you very much for
And he's taking us all out for a drink afterwards.
It's been a long time coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna throw around.
Congratulations, also. 15 years ago. Congratulations.
Oh, God. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
I was hoping nobody would notice that either.
Nothing misses me.
Okay. So I don't know if you're all here for his swearing in and everybody plans on leaving and you're just waiting for a nice moment, or whatever you guys want to do.
So if anyone did want to, yes, that is, but we want to really thank.
But we do have another one.
Yes. Oh, you want to do the other one? Yes.
Well, no, I'm just
go.
saying that we have the induction of another one, so they might be
Oh,
waiting
yeah,
for
let's do that too, yes.
So why don't you want to do
No,
that
go
one?
ahead. No, you
Go
can do
ahead.
that. No, you can do that.
Okay, so Chief, we also now have we want to introduce a future officer, Cheryl Benjamin, who is going through, why don't you explain to the public what's going on? Take a microphone.
You want me to stand over by this?
Sure.
We all know I like the mic in my hand, so. Hold off on my singing. Good evening, everybody. Tonight is an exciting night, not only for the swearing in of Lieutenant Rob Lucchese, but also a proposal, a presentation of a new hire to the town board, and a recommendation to actually officially hire an individual. I'd like to formally introduce Cheryl Benjamin. Come up to the
Come up and-
please. You come over here, actually. Cheryl has a little background on her. She was a student over at Marist College. She came to us first as an intern in 2010. She enjoyed working with our agency so much then, and we liked her so much back then, that she began working with us as a dispatcher. Been with us as a dispatcher since the end of 2010. Dedicated as she is, not only giving us a lot of hours, working part-time with our agency, another police agency, and then full-time with SUNY Police as communications. She put herself through the police academy, phase 1, on our own. She's just about to complete phase 1. I believe it's next week or in 2 weeks. Her graduation is July 9th. July 10th starts phase 2. To be phase 2, you do have to be a sworn officer. We did have a vacancy for a 21st officer position. I did speak to the board already about approving that position. We, after careful review of interviewing candidates from the resident list, Cheryl was one of the top 3. She was selected. We did a background, complete background, and after the completion of that, everything was successful, and I would like to recommend to the town board that we do officially hire Cheryl Benjamin, effective July 7th.
Okay, so Jeff, would you like to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
What year did you graduate Marist?
2011.
2011, we were classmates.
Is that a conflict, Dan?
Checking.
Okay.
Do you want to recuse yourself?
I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, so any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Congratulations. We're delighted to have you be part of our police force, and we look forward to your successful completion, and congratulations.
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 Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you as always. Thank you very much.
Can you help me out? You broke it?
Broken. Okay.
Why do we need another
Well,
building?
we can't see you, but you can see us.
We're gonna step out.
No, thank you
Well,
very
we
much.
figured that. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you for being a part of this.
Now, they're all going out.
Now, you guys are all going out, right? Can you wait for us? Can you call us? We'll get done quick.
We have to flip the
Now
table.
we have nobody left.
No, but I'm saying, I can't sit here.
But let's see if we can get them real quick, fast.
Oh, I can do it fast. Let's go.
We'll just
Okay.
move it. Okay,
I
so
would like to make a motion approving the fireworks contract.
do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Motion so carried. Okay, Chris
And
Middle,
just actually real quick on the fireworks
okay.
contract, do you still need volunteers?
I suspect we probably do.
So anyone interested in volunteering for the fireworks, if there's any interest out there, please feel free to contact the supervisor's office and speak to the assistant, to the supervisor, and she will let you know when the meetings are.
Okay.
But I do believe there are assistants needed still.
And I just also want to thank Carol Connolly, my assistant, because she's pretty much single-handedly taken over the fireworks and assuring that we will have fireworks this July 4th weekend, and she's just been working on it nonstop. Lori Morris is helping her with the music, but Carol's pretty much doing everything, so I think everybody just, when you see her, thank her, because she's working really hard to assure the community of fireworks, which is... Gene?
Yes.
Metal bid.
Okay, Chris, did you have a date in mind for this metal bid? Because that's all I need is a date.
That's recycling.
Laura?
Oh, Laura, do you have a date for this metal bid?
Whenever the drill hall is, or not the drill hall.
Oh, Rosanna, do you have a date in mind for this metal bid for recycle?
What was the date that you...
Well, because the clerk has to be there.
Yes.
Right.
What was the date that you had?
I said July 8th, but
Jeff's okay.
as long as it's done by September.
Well, could we do it sooner than that?
Whatever.
Does the camera want to get a shot of our... Why don't you take...
Dan did.
Do you want to move the camera and show what's going on in Town Hall right now?
What is July 8th? and why was it- So why was it crossed out? Do you want to go with July 8th and open it at 1 o'clock?
I haven't checked on availability. It was like
Okay.
the bidding place.
Well, don't you want to be here for the bid opening? So you and Rosanna have to be here. Okay, so how about, I'll make a motion that the town clerk and the recycle coordinator come up and solidify their date. Go with your 12 o'clock opening and move forward on this metal bid. I read the bid. The bid's fine. Okay.
So you
That's
made
my
a-
motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion so carried.
Okay. I read environmental consultants.
Yes.
You're right. It's a minimal change. I think under the circumstances of the changes that we have in the water and sewer department, that we can support this. I think it's great, and I think it's well done. And I thank you, Chris, for working with environmental consultants to get this for the sewer. Thank you.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that we move forward on this new contract. It had a July date, correct, Chris?
Yes.
July 1st. Okay. That's my motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay.
right,
Well, let's get through
can I-
we'll do the annexation after we just, because these other things we can get done real quick.
Yeah,
so.
because I have a question on the DOT thing. Am I supposed to be confused by this?
Yes, a little bit.
I am?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so let me, Ultra Seal, what this is about, well, with this, and Chris can help us with this, but we got this letter, Ultra Seal, which is one of our businesses, wants to be able to use some very large trucks to go from Ultra Seal in New Paltz to their other facility in Modena. So we got a letter from the DOT basically said, we don't really have the right to say no, but if, there are reasons from safety issues that might impact it, we can give them that information. So we talked to Chris, we talked to Dave Clauser, we got in touch with Tom Weiner from the DOT, and it's really hard for us to say no. The concern was whether or not the truck can make the turn and have the visibility that it needs to have, and there are some issues with A, the turning radius, and B, the ability to look up 32, and then there's also daycare center right on the corner. And so, but we only have 30 days from when we got the letter to respond, and June 28th is the 30 days. So we don't have to do anything now, but we need to be aware of it because the next meeting.
So we have to do it next week.
Yeah, but right now, for the moment, really, in essence, it's very hard for us to say no. It's just coming up with documentation to say why there might be a problem, so I'll let Chris talk now.
I won't be here the next meeting.
So let's do it now.
Maybe you want to go.
Okay.
The line of sight
Yeah.
is fine. You can see both ways. The problem is the turning radius. When you pull out of Brookside,
Yeah.
if you're going to go south or north, such a large truck, you have to take up the other lane.
Right.
And it's pulling up a hill. But there's no obstructions, so it's nothing out of the normal for even tractor trailers to do that. This is just a couple feet longer,
But
a lot heavier.
this is really a tractor trailer? It's not?
It's longer.
It is?
Yeah.
All right. So it wasn't like,
We-
because when I read it, I didn't know if they were just trying to move goods from move inventory from one facility to another, as opposed to tractor trailer making the delivery.
Right. It would be nice to keep them off the road. One, we are just redoing the road now. So it'll hold up to it the way we've rebuilt it, but it'll impact it eventually. The only recourse I could see is possibly the Thruway Authority, because that overpass is in pretty rough shape. Although the engineers, when I've called saying that I'm going to do all the work on it,
It's fine.
I get whatever, or I just don't get a call back. So I don't think there's good luck with that one.
And what it basically says
Maybe I'd like to
is,
stand on it.
Federal Highway Administration regulations mandate that the request be approved unless a quantifiable safety hazard is identified, inadequate geometrics such as lane width less than 10 feet, or a history of truck accidents. We are prohibited from considering factors such as congestion, public dislike for large trucks, or the accident history involving vehicles other than large trucks using the highway. We did check with the police chief. There's really no record of accidents in that area or on that road with trucks or anything, so.
The last truck accident there, just so everyone knows, was me. My brand new rollback got T-boned in the intersection.
So,
Okay, but then that's not really a good thing.
No, but you don't have Robbins Apple, which used to be right across with the heavy truck traffic
That
anymore.
was heavy.
So it's a lot less now than it was. But 32 is that's a pretty rough spot, just speed-wise.
Would there be some, if it's pretty much going to be like a no-brainer, like it's going to be done no matter what, would there be safety features that we could put on both sides of Brookside, but on the 32 south?
Both
About slowing down, about like vision, about
Well, that's a state road
Oh.
as far as putting signage on it.
Okay. So
The intersections are very large, and the sight distance is rather
Right.
good. And the nice part about that is there are two private entities on each side, so they always keep their properties mowed. So there's no tall grass. It's pretty clean. The other end, there's not a lot of traffic on south to Highville in that general area. It's a four-way intersection. And the line of sight still is pretty good.
And actually, Gene, just so you know, in looking at it too, we have actually approved in the town, and actually, the county and state has weighed in on less line of sight with commercial properties that have trucks coming and going. In fact, there's one in front of our board right now, and it will be a commercial property, and they'll have delivery trucks coming and going. They actually have less line of sight, and they would be coming and going on North Puck Corners Road. So if that goes in there, it actually has less a line of sight, and they are okay with the truck. Right now, they're okay with the trucks coming and going there. So we actually exceed the line of sight here, and that actually, if they do come out of there, they actually will be going directly onto a hill. Chris could speak more educated to it. You would
Right.
come out of
On North Putt?
on North Putt, that vacant property. If that becomes the CVS there, they would have 18-wheelers.
okay.
So I guess coming out, if you make a left out of there, you'd be making it's pretty tough for a truck, right? You wouldn't be able to get a
Well,
lot of speed.
you've got a turning lane, so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all the geometrics of where where they would put an entrance or an exit on how to pull out.
And they rated the line of sight on that less than the line of sight on this.
More than likely because it's at a very busy intersection.
Okay.
And you got Freihofer's down the road, which isn't much.
Yeah, but the intersection itself is larger than 32.
Good point. No, you know, very good. No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point, yeah.
The road width is bigger than 32. So my concern is not so much that, the visibility is okay. The thing is to get the tractor trailer up to go either way. All that weight in the back.
Well, they'll probably have to on at least North Putt, remodify the shoulders in some parts.
And who would do that?
No, I don't know.
Or would they
If the
go-
developer would
or
have
would
to-
they go,
yeah,
oh, hello,
That's not the
Chris."
discussion, that's not the
Okay.
discussion tonight.
And that's
We're
not
talking- Yeah, so.
The county just paved that road, so.
They didn't do that good of a job, let me tell you.
But I abstain. I abstain.
So let's
Smart move, Chris.
let's just get back to what we're focusing on. So, I mean, as it is, there's no action that the board has to take. It was just, I wanted to bring it to your attention, have a little bit of a discussion, but I don't think there's really anything at this point.
I don't think there's anything. It meets even the minimum criteria for the way it looks now. I don't
Okay.
think
So
we would
we-
like to stand on it.
So we did as much
It would be
research as
nice
we could to
if we
try to
could come up with
assess it.
something, but,
Well, that's what, we did as much as we could to assess it, to see if there was something, if we had a leg to stand on. I don't believe we can find anything that basically helps us.
It will impact the road. I mean, that road's built, or when it's completed for us, we should be able to get 10 years out of that without doing anything to it. So I would say depending on how much truck traffic we get on it, it'll half the life.
Is there a way that we have any ability to, because we're really giving permission for Ultraseal to use it, is there a way to do something to help them offset the cost to what the wear and tear on the road?
I don't see it.
Okay, well, we can try to look into it. Okay, so anyway, so there's nothing for us to do, we need to talk about it, because when you start seeing the trucks there, it's public. Okay, so why don't we do the school district campus?
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Was
I'll make
the
them-
billable rate always per mile? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it always
Yeah.
per mile?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is the rate still the same?
I don't think they changed
I
it.
think so. It came up because it's all local. It's all just right here.
It's really basically taking the kids from the school to the pool
No, but I thought
Right.
the bus drivers got an hourly.
with a minimum of, I think, 2 hours or
They
something.
do, don't they
Yeah.
get a union rate?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're supposed to provide us with a list for us to approve
Yes.
the list.
They did.
Did it have
No,
the
the list
names
of
in
the
it?
names of the
No,
bus
'cause
drivers.
we-
Payment will be made to the district upon receipt of an itemized invoice as submitted by the district to the town in the operation of the program. So when they want payment, they give us the itemized list.
Yeah, no, but I think Jeff was saying that in the past, they gave us a
In the
list of
past, they gave us a
their...
list,
Oh.
and we actually approved the list of names
Of the
because we're paying them through our payroll.
Right, right.
So technically, legally, we need to actually,
Okay, well, then they changed it. No, they're saying now it will be an invoice. In other words, these will not,
We'll invoice
this
them.
is a
How do we know what
contract.
the rate is?
These will not be our employees. This is a
Right.
contract. It's an
So the
outside
district will
vendor.
charge the town for the use of buses at a rate of $2.60 per mile per school bus utilized for each mile the school bus is used in the performance of this agreement, together with all tolls expended for highway, bridge, and tunnels, which there isn't.
oh, I misread, they changed it.
Mileage will be
That's what I was
computed, mileage will be computed from and to the district high school on South Park Corners Road. Payment will be made to the district upon receipt of an itemized invoice as submitted by the district to the town in operation of the program.
I'm
So
wondering
then-
now, I think
Well, we'll
it's
save money.
different. Well, who knows? So it's now $2.60 per
Right,
mile.
right.
So,
Well, it starts on the 30th, so we still have a week. We could find out during the week. and-
Because
Well,
I
it's
don't know,
interesting,
we
yeah,
used to
because
pay, to Kevin's
Right.
point, we used to approve the bus list.
right,
Yeah.
at an hour.
And and then we would cut, in fact, it was kind of
Well, this
it was
is-
kind of difficult for our accounting office because they had to cut checks for them. They wanted them on their pay schedule, which I believe was a 2-week schedule. So we were cutting checks on a 2-week schedule for the drivers. and we approved the drivers. So this is different.
Well, actually,
I
no.
misread this, that we're now paying per mile.
But yeah,
I
but
misread
no,
the contract.
but this is interesting because it says designation of bus and driver. The district reserves the exclusive right to designate the bus or buses, and the town reserves the exclusive right to employ the driver or drivers to be used for the program from the list supplied by the district.
So I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're paying $260 plus an hourly rate for drivers.
Well-
Which is a little different than we had in the past.
I'm
Yeah, but it
confused
just
by-
says right here, payment. It just
Well,
says,
but I'm
doesn't say
confused
it.
by the contract now, because I read that first part, and I
Yeah.
thought we were hiring the drivers again, which
Yeah.
we've always done that.
Yeah,
I
but
think
this-
they're renting us the buses for $260
A mile, yeah.
And we're on the hook for the drivers.
Well, why don't we,
Because they're saying, Susan, didn't you just read that we're free to contract with the drivers?
it says the district reserves the
don't
the
have any
exclusive right
buses.
to designate the bus or buses, and the town reserves the exclusive right to employ the driver or drivers to be used for the program from the list supplied by the district. But you're right, because in the past, they supplied the drivers, and we just approved them, and then
We just paid the drivers.
You know, so why don't we
And the
table this?
district, and we didn't pay the $261 a mile, which is, this is now,
No, that's different.
which is different,
Yeah.
and these are all New Paltz residents, and certainly New Paltz Central School District
Right,
residents.
kids, right.
Yeah.
So I would hope the school would be willing to help provide, I would hope the school district would be more than happy to step up and provide a little bit of value to the residents and to the people that are paying 50, how many cents per dollar is our school taxes, Kevin?
33.
No.
All, 62% of 33.
Okay, so 62 cents on the,
Okay, well, and
62% of 33 per thousand.
and there you go.
Well,
So I
since
would
we're-
hope that the school district would continue to allow us just to pay the drivers and not ask us for reimbursement of $261, because we did not budget that at all. We don't have, well, I can guarantee you, we don't have that in our summer program
Why
budget.
don't we pull out the contract from last year?
Mhm.
And that's what
Yeah.
we're doing this week, and we'll cash
we will,
it out
we will,
next
no, but we have the money in the budget for this, the Y program, they put it in
week.
the
We
budget.
have, we absolutely have it in the
Yeah,
budget.
no, I know that. I'm pretty positive, Jeff, it's in the budget through the Y. When the Y gives us their summer stuff, we put it into the budget.
We
So
budgeted
counted
for
in.
drivers, not for the per mileage
No, I
rate.
think we've always paid per mileage. I just don't know if it's 260, I think we've always paid per mile. But let's just table this, we have till next week, because camp doesn't start till, when,
Okay, next.
right? Camp doesn't
Well, the
start till-
contract is in
Yeah.
effect the 30th, so we do
Yeah,
have next.
and they already signed it, so, okay, so then, where's my agenda? I just moved
Department
it.
reports.
Um,
You want to go back?
Well, we have to do the Desano annexation, but
Okay.
I don't know what just happened to my agenda. I must have put it in one of these folders.
The next one.
Do we have nothing else on there, right, except for the department reports and the, right? Does anybody have anything to say about the reports? Or anything about their
I
committees
need
or
to
anything?
let Kevin and Jeff know, because they'll be doing the vouchers next month. I had a half an hour conversation with Joe Moriello.
Yeah?
You're gonna be billed.
Okay.
Just need to let you know.
I'll look at
Gene
the subject
Gallucci.
matter and see.
I could tell you what it was.
That's all right.
Oh, so by the way, while I was talking to Joe Moriello, next week is our ethics.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Did we want Joe Moriello here?
Well-
Because he had helped write it?
He asked me because we also might have a developers agreement, and there might be a few other things, so he asked me if we wanted him here, and I said to hold the time, and I could let him know. So, I mean, we probably
Okay.
might want him, because he's
Okay,
been
'cause
working on it for a
I spoke to
long
him
time.
yesterday, and he said, well, nobody invited me. So I said, well, geez, I'll just ask myself.
Did you extend them an invitation?
I did
But-
not, because
No.
I had already crossed the line when I spoke to Joe, and I had to tell you, we're gonna get a bill.
He emailed me, because I was asking him some questions on some stuff, and he emailed me back and said, do you need me there next Thursday? And I said, why don't you hold the date? I said, because it would probably be good to
Okay.
have you. So I did say, hold the date,
Okay,
okay?
yep, well, he knew that date.
Okay, well, that's because he's been getting all the ethics documentation to us for the public
Right.
hearing and for everything we need to do.
Okay.
Okay? So does anybody have anything they want to say about the committees?
I guess as long as we're on committees, and just because Ira brought it up and they have met the BAR, just how the BAR works, just a brief overview, and Kevin is happy to interrupt at any moment, because he probably has some more experience than I do. Board of Assessment reviews all across New York State are set up by the town board. The people are then put on to the Board of Assessment Review. There's a mandatory training for them. In general, you seek out individuals that have experience both evaluation of properties, homes. They are residents, so they also own either a property or properties in the area. What you look to do with the BR now, as far as what they do, if you go to the Board of Assessment Review, you are responsible for bringing the information on your property, which you would then first go to the assessor and get what they call comp properties. So you would go and whatever your property is, you would then ask for a few comparable properties and what they're assessed at. The assessor would provide to you then those comparable properties. You're welcome to go out and look at them, read through the reviews, talk to the assessor about it. Anyone going before the Board of Assessment Review really should discuss it first with the assessor. Many of the properties that go to the assessor for these comps have a meeting with the assessor, and it actually never ends up at the Board of Assessment Review. The matter is settled in the assessor's office. If they're still not satisfied with what the assessor has discussed with them, they're welcome to go to the Board of Assessment Review. Board of Assessment Review, the members, some of them go out and actually visit the properties. Actually, we've had a Board of Assessment Review where the majority of them actually do go out and visit the properties in question. I apologize if I thought a little bit more. I could have gone and gotten the numbers this year. I honestly don't know how many went. And then you sit at the Board of Assessment Review. Now, their decision is actually only taken on for 1 year. So if you go and the Board of Assessment Review does not agree with the assessor's assessment, it is then held for 1 year. You then need to go, you don't need to go back, but the assessor during that year then can go and look at that property and the comp properties and see if there is an error somewhere. It may result in multiple properties being changed, both for up and down in the assessment value. So they are not, and I need Kevin's help on this, they are not a judicial board. They are making a determination for which is valid for 1 year with the assessor. And the assessor may still go back and reclassify that property at a higher rate or at the rate prior to the change. So the change may only take place for a year, or the change may extend beyond that if the assessor agrees there was an error. Most of them in our community, though, again, do not leave our assessor's office. We do not have a Board of Assessment Review that is buried in BAR reviews, because there are several meetings that are ended for that. And then that, it is, I know it is a 1 year, and then after that, it is up for, again, to be looked at. And hopefully Kevin has some more on that.
And Ira, pilots obviate the need to have such a contentious atmosphere. Yeah.
No, I understand the Board of Assessment Review. I've been there, I've been on meetings and everything. What bothered me today was when I was talking to your assessor, and she advised me that they have the right to override the town law that says 401Bs are not exempt from local taxes, not a 401A, which is exempt, period. I understand it. But 401B, which the town law says is not exempt by town law. Lori told me, and she said it's on the form, I should have taken it from her, that they have the authority to override that law and say, no, we're not going to allow that tax. That's what bothers me about it. Not anything you're saying.
And I agree, and when it comes to that part of it, just, you know, commercial properties and tax-exempt properties, and I'm going to now speak traditionally or holistically about New York State, the majority of the time, they are not changed at a BAR. I cannot speak, I'd have to go and do the research for you, Ira. The majority of the time, I will say that 99% of the time, commercial properties and exempt properties, the BAR does not change the assessor's decision, because it is a real specialty once you get into that. And again, Kevin might have a little more of an opinion on that, but
I think you've said.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's, okay, sure, love to. And Laura, I guess at some point you wanted to maybe talk to us about the RRA? Is that why this is here?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a PowerPoint, whatever you want me to do that.
We have something else on the agenda before we get to that. I just saw this sitting here, so, but we're not, I mean, so why don't we invite the Casanos up? So where we, the Casano's up, the Casano annexation project.
This is not a couple named Casano, everyone. This is the Casano.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just nice deal.
Okay, great, thanks.
It's an honest mistake.
How you guys doing?
Hi, we're okay.
Thank you for
So-
assistance with the blinds, by the way.
Oh, yeah, okay. So where we're at,
Shaved a
just
few
as a
years off, but, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, the dust, the dirt, and whatever. So, the town and the village have been petitioned, the town to annex land into the village, particular properties. We had a public hearing. We were having difficulty because you didn't have a plan to put in front of us, and based on the build-out for the village, it could be a little bit in contradiction to the residential area of the town. And so we last left it where we talked about the possibility of giving the town board an extension to figure this out. We were advised by the attorney, George Lithgow, the planning board attorney, to ask the village to agree to give an extension, which the village did at their meeting right after we met with you. They took action to allow us to extend it. What we have to do tonight is decide together that, and you said you would give us an extension so we could take action to do the extension. There were some other conversations about whether or not we wanted to deny it and then just do it through rezoning and study the rezoning. I did have a conversation with Stacy about this and with George Lithgow, and then I think with Kevin and then with Jeff, that if we were to do that, you know, it would make sense to look at rezoning from the village town line up Route 32 North, because you have B2 on one side, residential on the other side, so it might make sense to create business going even further. And it was sort of left at the different alternatives that we have. And we asked you to come so you could talk again a little bit more about what you're thinking, and then we can figure out what the next steps are. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin and Jeff, or you guys, to decide how we want to go forward. Well, you're the one who sort of thought that maybe we'd want to rezone or whatever. So if you want to ask questions or talk to them, I'm opening it up to you.
Last time you were here, you didn't have a specific plan for the property. Has that changed at all?
No, we don't have a specific plan, more than a conceptual plan.
So you're requesting that the property be annexed to the village to take advantage of the zoning that exists in the village?
Correct.
Which would give you the opportunity to have a mixed use
Well,
type of project.
there's mixed use in the front, and maybe I do have some conceptual stuff we could maybe visually look at that could, we could at least as discussion points, if you don't mind me handing that out. First and foremost is, a very basic conceptual idea of what, mixed use looks like. And this is conceptually something that is going to, or probably more than conceptually, something that's going to be built across the street at 151, which is across from the property you have.
Which you
So
have
just
right.
identify the road for us in front.
That's Route 32.
That's
No,
32. And
that's
this-
32.
That's 32.
This, I apologize, so this is 32?
Correct.
And then this is,
Entrance to the property, parking around it.
okay, so this would be, so this is 32 heading,
That would be
North or
heading north right there. Yeah.
this is 32 north. also.
Right.
Okay.
Going.
So this is north.
So
Yeah,
that's,
so it's going
that's
this
actually,
way.
So
that
this-
would be,
This
that would be the
North
parcel
Chestnut then. This would be North Chestnut
on that
heading
side of the road.
towards, I apologize, this is North Chestnut North.
That's 32 north. That's an entrance. That's
And this will be a
parking.
new road.
That's parking.
Right.
That's
It's gonna be parking.
Perimeter parking.
Okay, yeah, so this would be a
Perimeter
curb cut here or something. so-
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
I mean, it's no curbs to cut, but I mean,
There will be eventually.
lack of a description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's,
that's that.
Okay.
that's on 151, across the street from the property.
That's
we're
conceptually
talking
what
about.
is intended for and
For across the street.
for across the
So let me ask
Who
you,
owns
so,
that property?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
so if you're coming out of Sunset Ridge, if you're coming down from the
You
school.
make a left, and that would be on your
Down from the
right.
school,
It's next to Agway?
and you make
Yeah.
a left, it's right there on the right.
This is right next to Agway. and-
That's where I live.
Directly across the street from the property of 152 in question.
Right.
Or- So if you wanted to look at it on your map.
So that picture
Is
is what
this.
you're intending to do on that piece of property right here.
Correct.
Yes.
So it's right here. And then, where's Agway?
Agway's here. That is the vacant, we
That's
don't
the
know,
old car
whatever it is.
dealership, Tex-Mex building
Yeah,
Okay.
that needs to be
and that's Be Wise.
snuffled out of
Did you guys
sight.
buy that, please?
He
No,
won't sell it.
it's wet.
And it
low.
does have wetlands in the
Yeah.
back there.
And what's
In
over
the
here?
back, right, is
And what's
all
over
wet.
here?
That's Bosse's.
That's Bosse's.
And tributary 13 runs through where on this?
This is not
old
where it
map.
runs. It
No, ignore that,
actually
yeah.
runs along
But
the rail
there's that
trail.
huge but there's that,
Trip 13 comes right through the side of the property.
No,
and
no,
the-
no, no. Tributary 13 comes under the bridge by Stewart's.
Yep.
And it runs parallel to the rail trail.
Yep.
All the way down across under Huguenot Street.
what's the
and
water course that comes down here?
I'm
then?
sorry.
I
It's not
apologize,
Trip
too.
13.
You're
What's,
right.
what's the one that comes across the street?
may not
That's a drainage ditch that comes down alongside
Okay.
here. It comes along 32 here. It comes along
Does that
here.
stay underground then once it goes?
No, it's above ground. Once it comes across the street, it is above ground, but
It's
it
a
does hug the side of the
class-
property.
It's a Class D stream.
So it can be moved. It's Class D, so it can easily be moved to the side of the
Show it on
property.
camera. Now,
So, and then this is the property here then that you also may develop?
Yes,
And
which
now
is-
what's existing on this lot here?
The back of it is a home. The front of it is vacant,
Vacant.
or land.
there's a bunch of trees, and then there's like a little sort of shacky type house in here, which is empty, and then over here is a nice white sort of cape.
No,
But is it-
No,
is
no,
it
no.
the
This is
house-
all one lot. This is the lot in question. See, it's divided in two.
And this
It's
is where
one
the-
lot that's half in the village and half in the
You
town?
have
Correct.
the purple's in the village, which is, up with the new zoning,
And this is the
Right.
town.
and this is the, you can
Here's
see
the
the
survey of that
And then
property.
this is the new church building being built right here on this one?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then the White House next door is right over here?
Yes.
Okay. So that property's not what was in part, because I went and drove to look at it, so I guess I didn't realize that that one piece of property was cut in half by the town and the village. So I looked at that property thinking that was the village property, and that this White House was the town property, and that you were
No.
looking to take that piece over.
No.
Is that
Okay.
town property or village property across the street?
This is village.
The
This is
B3 is funny because it's, Bosse's is the last piece in the village, and that was also incorporated into the new zoning code. And when it comes down, it actually goes across the street by like Stewart's and where I used to have my business, the New Paltz Gardens, across from New Paltz Auto, and then just that little section there, and then it comes back down all the way to the Salvation Army. That's the B3 district, was the B3 district.
So for the moment, right now, are you guys planning on developing this? I mean,
Yeah.
This is in process?
Right,
no.
no.
It's not in planning board yet, but it
We're
eventually
trying
will
to
It's
be.
conceptual though,
Yeah.
like the density that you're looking
Yeah,
for.
I mean,
That's what the zoning now allows for, and that's going to be presented.
Now,
I guess-
what is this exactly?
Oh, this would be a mixed use.
It's
Yeah.
first
So you get
floor,
retail, commercial, first floor, second, third, and fourth floor. This is only 3, but you're allowed to build 4 floors. Second, third, and fourth could be residential, must be residential, but they also would allow for some office or professional on the second or third.
As you go back, though, it's all residential.
all
Correct.
residential?
They would only allow that, exactly.
And with this one, we had planned on, and part of doing this, we gave an easement to the village through the property to allow for a rail trail access.
Access to the rail trail.
So it would benefit the Sunset Ridge properties and the Montague Drive properties.
Well, I can leave that there, but actually,
All those
where is
families-
Stewart's on here is...
There's Bonnegue. so
Where-
Stewart's
Stewart's
probably
is
way
all the
down
way
here.
down
Yeah,
here.
not that far, because there's a great access across from that. So, but I see what you're saying, though, it'd be nice, but I mean, we have an excellent...
The only access
We have
there-
very safe access at Stewart's.
No,
I
but
mean,
Stewart's is down here.
Yeah, it's not that far, though, I mean, it's...
Oh,
pretty close.
okay.
You know what I'm saying, I agree with you, no, but there's already great access from the rail, there's that great parking lot.
Generally, for
Yeah, no,
kids to
so, yeah,
ride
no,
their
it'd be good to-
bicycles,
yeah,
though,
yeah.
Jeff. I mean,
No, I agree with you, no, it would be nice to have access
Well,
there, too.
up
yeah.
north, the only other access would be above Bosse's. You have access here.
Huguenot
Honestly.
Street.
Yeah,
On Huguenot.
On Huguenot.
So one in the middle would be.
It'd be
Now,
nice.
this
they're about a mile apart.
It'd be better for me because I have
Well,
down on 32.
I didn't think it was a huge deal, but the village did,
And
and they pressed us hard.
I'm good with it, I'm good with more access to it also.
What's the size of this lot?
2.8 acres.
And
So
what
this
ti-
is 2.8 acres, and what's the size of this one?
This is 1.2,
Including the
both.
total.
And
ours
it's
is-
pretty much split in the middle,
Susan,
effectively.
it doesn't look like that district should extend much beyond where their property is, I would think.
You mean in terms of if we were going to do rezoning.
Yeah.
So again, from what I understand, when I spoke with Stacy, after I had the conversation with you, I asked Stacy to come in to run it by her. So she was saying going up this way is B2, and on this side is a lot of residential.
Right.
But there's also, she also said on this side, there's a lot of non-conforming.
This has
So-
become, well, it's B3.
Well, it's B3 on this side, and it's residential, I think, on this side.
Yeah,
And then there's a lot of
But this was rezoned B3 as well.
No, that's part of the town.
that's part of the town.
No, that's part of
That's
the
part of
village.
the village.
This is the town line.
I tell them,
Okay,
yeah.
oh, okay.
You're talking
Oh, I
about
thought you said,
residential.
I thought you said the village line was here.
No, you see
Okay.
the line right there.
This is
Okay,
the dark
okay.
line, yeah. That's the
So you
village
can
town
see
line.
where-
This is 32. This is Old
Okay.
Kingston, the access road that was
Okay,
created
Okay,
for
so this
BOSI.
is now B3?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. These residents
Okay.
now live in a B3 zone.
That goes all the way out.
And so do these people partially, though, but only partially. We are the only one that actually, or the property that we're in discussion with, is the only one that actually has close to a majority, significant piece within the B3 to possibly request something that would be substantial. These guys are like, all right, I got a little bit in B3, do you want to pull me all in? That's
And
up to
Kevin,
you
maybe
guys.
you would have an opinion on this. So the back of this, though, would have to be residential.
Well, you might get into a well, it would be residential if they built something like this.
Only the front would be
Commercial.
commercial.
Exactly.
Potentially,
Right.
maybe if that's what they want. I mean, I can't speak. I'm
Well, not only is that what we want, that's what the B3 code requires, that the commercial must be on the road frontage. It
Only.
can't be in the rear.
And I'm good, so this at most, though, would be residential,
That's it.
Correct.
abutting residential.
That
Oh, yeah,
would be it.
but in terms of being residential, it could still be 4-story residential.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you guys have to discuss,
Well,
how
right,
dense, how
exactly.
high,
You
what
know,
you would
versus-
comfortable
Yeah,
with.
too, right.
It is a hill. Not,
No, no,
Well,
no.
yes,
It
ranges
doesn't
up-
start till you get about up to here,
it-
and then off.
From
It's- it's-
32,
it's
kind
a-
of flat,
it's a-
and
it's a
then
fr-
also- yeah.
It's a piece of property and it has just like a sort of like a white cape type
does
house.
grade up,
That's
but-
a very nice little,
But it
nice
takes
house
a while,
right there.
like when you
but-
get
does
up by
take a
Van
while.
Alls,
Yeah.
you get up to Juniper, you get up to Willie's, then it really starts getting
one of the things I wanted to mention to you, if I
well,
can,
hold on, don't cut them off.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
is from 32 to the back of the property, you're probably 10, 12 feet in difference in grade, which, when Buddy and I were looking at the town code, it was 2.5 stories or 35 feet is the code right now.
Let's not get into
Well,
that.
no, I just want to talk.
It's okay.
So, I mean,
Are you guys partners?
I just want
Can you
everybody,
guess?
well, essentially, to do this type of development, we'd have to be level with
We'll wait at New
32.
Post Land, this could be part of it.
So feasibly, we might be able to come down in the back to accommodate
Right.
some of the height.
Well, we'll see. So, I'm sorry, your
How many
your
units?
comment was?
We don't know yet.
Oh, well, no, I mean, that's,
Well, you
mean,
got
there's-
4
there's-
floors. You
there's-
know what's going to be
we got an
commercial.
approximate.
I was just wondering how many units.
you could probably fit 100 units there if you wanted to. If it's really small, you could probably fit 30 two-bedroom units. You could probably fit 50.
I mean, I know it's conceptual, and
That's
obviously,
with
bedrooms.
both parcels combined?
Yeah.
but I know.
So why don't we
Well, it's
dive into that a
conceptual, but
little?
what do you guys
Yeah.
think the market will bear?
Here's what we would consider doing without the annexation. Just, if you guys didn't honor
What
the
do
annexation.
You guys have done
here's-
work, though, obviously. What's the market telling you? Like, what would you really think? I mean, I know what you can do. Do you really?
I would say large single bedrooms, 2 bedrooms.
That's what the market's looking for in this.
I would think so.
You would know better than.
Okay, so right now, if we didn't,
If you didn't annex anything, this is what we're planning on building.
okay, so let's explain to us what this is.
Well, that would be retail in the front is your orange.
Okay.
This is ground floor, large bedroom, single bedroom units on the bottom. And then we would put 4 stories above that, but above the retail would be these smaller single bedrooms in the front and larger either 2 bedrooms or large 1 bedrooms in the back. So that would be maybe 30 units.
And then this piece would just stay empty,
That would stay empty.
Just like it's all.
make it hard for us to not want to deny the annexation.
Well, I'm thinking maybe, this is an idea. Are we limited on the amount of extension that we can generate?
We
No.
We're not. Why don't you just go to the planning board with your proposal and start the process.
Do a free conceptual.
Yeah.
There's a free
See if-
conceptual we offer.
if
By the way, let's now step back for a second. Go in front of the village planning board or the town planning board?
board. Well, actually, you'd have to go through the village planning board.
Well, see, the thing is, right now, this plan is based on this staying town land. They haven't shown us if this
This
is,
is based on a portion of state.
Here's what would
Right.
happen if you annexed it in.
Okay,
You would
that's
build
the-
more.
yes, that's what we want
It's
to,
it's just a process of progression.
now,
Look at that.
Thank you.
so this would be all
More units?
parking?
That would be more parking, that would be more units.
Impervious parking. Impervious.
So can you file,
Impervious?
you can file, can you
Impervious.
file a joint application?
It would all conform with what would be.
Yeah.
You mean, not do the annexation and just do a joint planning
And
for,
then do the annexation last.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our biggest,
It doesn't eat
That'll
into the
probably be
building
in there
footprint either.
to grease the skids.
Longer conversation.
Sure, yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
longer conversation.
I mean,
So-
the thing, my concern is just that, there is a house next, it's just, it's a neighborhood.
It's the
There's a neighborhood, and then all of a sudden,
but that's something a planning board can
Right.
manage.
Because you're looking at that back parking area, it looks like, if I can read the numbers correctly, is that approximately 65 feet? If I look at this.
I'm sorry that you.
No, you would know, I'm just trying to.
That's a 65 from the border to probably the
And this
building.
would be,
It's probably 5 feet.
but that doesn't matter, but that would be
Well, we
horticulture
could-
of some type, that would
Yeah.
be trees.
Exactly.
And it's already.
It does just start to kind of go up there. It's very,
Yeah.
it's very
I
gentle.
do like where Kevin's going, though, in a sense of having, maybe there could be a special town-village planning, subcommittee put together, to sort of.
We can't spot zone it though, so we would
Well,
have to we'd either have to annex it or change zone it. We can't spot zone this and say we're gonna allow this in this lot. That's the one thing George
Yeah.
was talking about to us.
If you knew.
But you mentioned there was covenants that you guys could
Yeah,
use
yeah.
to govern
Yes,
certain
yes,
aspects that you may
yes.
want in the back.
The only thing, that's exactly, it's just like, in other words, if we move forward,
If you knew what
how do
the
we do it in a
plan
way
was.
I
where we
get it,
protect
yeah.
the,
I'm here to compromise and keep you guys, happy.
Keep it open. Get your conceptuals to the village.
Yes.
Kevin, you finish this
No,
thought.
go ahead, you go ahead. No,
Well, I think what I'm thinking, and Kevin and I were just discussing here, is I think what we'd like to see is, you can see here we're all speaking here in very good faith to try to see
Oh,
where
yeah,
this project's going.
absolutely, yeah.
So what my thinking is I would like to see you continue your process with the village of bringing the conceptual to them, then allowing us to then keep this open, and then if your conceptual meets what we see in the town, we would then allow the annexation with covenants.
Sure.
Now, those covenants would most likely involve, and I'll just speak for myself now, would involve barriers. I really do like that you've kept it open in the back. Lighting has become obviously much more restrictive. There's a lot more shielding on lighting now than even there was 5 years ago. Sometimes, restrictive lighting in the parking lot so it doesn't cause
Sure.
light pollution. And then also a barrier that would go between the properties. So this property is from that. So
me
my
just say-
opinion now, though, is to keep open what we're doing now. You continue with the village.
well, actually,
and
I'd like to
then-
make just a small little caveat, that what about the idea of them having, us asking the town planning board to meet with them, for them to review this, so they can get input from the town planning board, that then they incorporate it into the plan, and then go to the village planning board, because the village planning board's not looking at the impact on the
They
town.
use their opportunity to do a conceptual with the town.
Right,
And then
right.
take that
To-
information.
So
And
once
take
you
that
have
to the
it, yeah.
village, but start with the town planning board, because they're the ones who are gonna be basically looking at the impact on the town. The village is not gonna look at, it's not their obligation to look at the impact on the town, but it's our obligation to look at the impact on the town if we should allow the annexation. So if
For
you took
sure.
a conceptual to the town planning board, spoke with them and saw how they would feel comfortable.
village, you mean?
No, our town planning board, that you would go to talk to them about how you're gonna develop this piece of property,
And you mitigate any
It-
impact.
in a way so the planning board could work with you to mitigate the impact on the town residents,
Okay.
then, with them understanding what the village zoning allows.
Yeah,
But
of
then
course.
sort of saying, okay, but that village zoning is too dense, for the transition to the neighborhood, or they might say it's not a problem, or they might say, well, if you do this and scale back and do this, we'd feel comfortable as a town planning board, and then you could take that plan to the village planning board, and then we could feel comfortable allowing the annexation, knowing that our town planning board worked with you to put a plan in place that works.
And then you could end up with something in between
Right.
this one
Right.
and that one.
Yeah, no, I get that, for sure. And it
I mean, I think it's
sounds
the only way-
logical.
It's the only way that I think we, as a board, can protect,
The
do the
only-
right thing, with trying to do the annexation.
The only thing I see as potentially, I mean, I don't want to say a hiccup, or maybe just time-consuming, and, is the planning board, what's their directive? Like, you guys are here to make sure, if you were to annex something, it has a benefit to the town, which is, you believe maybe the town needs some more.
Well, what we would probably direct them.
Okay, so you would have.
I would suspect that we would direct them to say, we're asking you to review this with the understanding that we're being asked to annex it into the village, and it's under the new B3, but can you look at this to see how to help them develop it in a way that minimizes the impact on the character of the town? And so we would say to them, figure out how to make this work under the B3 zoning, but also understanding the fact that there's got to be some transition because you're coming
And then with that information.
into a residential neighborhood with a single house right next door.
Yeah, no,
They may develop
for
a
sure.
series of covenants that
Right.
go in place, and then we approve.
And then we can approve the annexation, knowing that we have these covenants, and then you just go to the village planning board. But we've done our job and we've
Right.
protected,
Yeah, no.
so.
I mean, I think.
I could run in and call George real quick to make sure,
No.
but I think this sounds like a good.
And then we could, they would need a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right.
How much more, though? I mean,
I mean, how far along are you on getting a little more solid conceptual, so to speak?
well, you're looking at it. I mean, that's as of right built. So its next thing is to pay engineers and get real drawings done.
Yeah, I mean, I think just a little bit more of neighboring properties. I mean, if you've done conceptuals before, when you do your first meeting, usually it would include a little bit more of the surrounding properties.
Okay.
If you want,
Locate the houses.
Yeah.
if you
sure.
want,
I get it.
you're welcome to stop up and see Kelly, and she'll share with you any of our current conceptuals we have going on. Just kind of
Perfect.
they
give me
would
an
be-
example of what-
They would be the same thing that you'd be presenting to the village.
Good.
It wouldn't be beyond that.
Okay.
And we would also discuss with the planning board that we're looking to just do this as a conceptual meeting. We don't want it to go beyond that, and then we would take
Get input.
input from them, plus our engineer will be there, for which, again, in conceptual, there's no charge to the applicant, plus we would be then also have our attorney there, who would then also be able to give us some guidance.
I think the
great.
conceptual
That sounds
is I think it's
wonderful.
$250
Yeah.
bucks.
It's
for the-
$250,
I think-
and the rest is
I think it's,
Free.
well, see, I think it's,
$250, and there's no professional fees.
There's no professional fees.
I don't know if it's $250 for the engineer and $250 for the
No,
lawyer,
it's-
or
no,
it's $250 for
no,
total, for like a 2-hour
total.
meeting, I think, right?
Up to a 2-hour
I
meeting,
think
yeah.
it's a 2-hour meeting. That would,
Well, that's
Well,
great.
I don't know.
That's
I
certainly
don't know if
workable.
it's
And then even
each.
prior to that, if you
No,
want your,
It's one flat fee.
it's one
Okay.
flat fee, I know it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And if
Okay,
you
so-
want, prior to that, I'm more than happy to sit, because I'm the liaison to them, I'm happy to sit with it, and then we can have a meeting with even the chairman.
That's
And
even
then the
better.
And he's
chairman
at the
can
meeting.
prepare
Yeah,
you
that's
prior to
awesome.
you even going
Yeah.
to the meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm more than
Okay.
happy to sit with you and Mike Calamano, and
Great,
just to
Jeff.
see where it's going. I'm happy-
Yeah.
You have my
Okay.
number.
Well, I'll take
So
you
then,
up on that.
okay,
Jeff,
so-
that'd
okay,
be
so
great.
if that's okay, then what we should do, and it seems like a fair way to try to move forward, the way that works
Absolutely.
for everybody. So then what we should do is, with you sitting here,
Got
is,
my number, but here's my number also.
Thank you.
that we need for you guys to agree that we're going to extend the deadline for the conversation, and the board to take action.
Absolutely.
So we need to do that to protect ourselves legally. So do you want to do it for a 2-month period, a month period,
When would be the, how,
16. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we don't
do
need,
more than
I would
a
like to make a
month. You
motion
don't
that we
want to
extend the application for 120 days,
okay, with permission?
with
okay.
permission from the developers.
That works for me.
absolutely.
Okay, so, okay.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Oh, did you
so-
second that?
Well, actually, Jeff moved it and
Okay.
Jen seconded
All
it.
right, so
Subject
I
to
retract
Okay, so-
whatever I
written
did.
consent of the applicants, all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work.
So you could send us just even.
Well, what I've
And
actually,
120 days, right?
Yep.
right.
If we need to
But,
go more, yeah, that just seems reasonable.
It's a good start. Yep.
Yeah.
but,
Do we have to get the village to do that
No,
now?
the village already did.
And
No,
when-
no, no.
All right.
when-
The village took, after they met with us last time, and George said that he was going to look into us getting to see if it was legal that we could extend it.
Okay.
After George found out it was legal, he said to me, he wrote to me in an email that he thought we should also get the village to agree. I sent an email to the village right away. They were meeting that night. I said, can you take action tonight? Because if you don't, we're going to be forced to have to deny the annexation. They took action. They sent me a copy of the minutes. I have the minutes
I know,
that show
but
they
now we
took.
did the 120. I'm saying, do we need to
No,
get the village
no.
to do the 120, or it's just
No, they
because
just
we
needed to-
both did this extension that it's okay that we say
The
it's
village just said that they agreed to
Okay.
allowing the extension, and so
Okay.
it's really us that has to take the action. So we have verbal, in the minutes, Rosanna, we have verbal agreement, and they will confirm in writing.
And that, to Rosanna, will be the verbal?
Yes.
Yes.
Or the written, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Or if you just
Okay.
want to drop it off to the clerk, drop it,
Yeah,
you can
but
just
send it
drop
to,
off a
yeah,
simple
because
letter.
Rosanna will incorporate it into the minutes.
Great.
Okay, so, and then you want to add to the motion about the conceptual? Okay, well, we did the extension,
we'll
we did the
take care of
extension,
all that.
okay,
No, we're
fine,
good.
okay.
Can I
So
ask
all
you
in
a
favor?
question?
We'll talk, yeah.
Any more discussion, we'll vote after you ask, can we vote first?
Yeah, vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, go ahead.
When would be the soonest time that we can get into a conceptual type of a meeting?
Call Kelly and arrange.
Set it up through Kelly?
Yeah.
You set it up through Kelly, they
Okay.
require everything.
Ball's now in our court.
They now require everything 2 weeks prior to their meeting.
Right.
So it's, you're looking at that they meet on the
Well, they might not end up going
First,
to the
second.
planning board, they might just go have a conceptual.
we may also just be talking to Mike and never go beyond that,
That's what I
too.
was saying, you
And
might
then
have
talking with
between
our
the.
engineer, we may
Between
throw
the
it up
engineer,
against.
the lawyer, and Mike
Great.
Calamano.
We may actually not even have you
they
in
just
front of
might-
them, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
So it's
I
excellent.
think we can do some meetings,
Yeah.
it's really up to you guys, stay in touch with me.
Perfect.
And then I'll work
Absolutely.
with Mike, and let's just, you
All right.
see what we want, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Okay.
I appreciate your time, guys.
Okay, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Susan.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Right?
Okay, okay,
Appreciate it
bye-bye.
again, you look great.
I tried.
I know.
Okay, Joe,
always do.
okay.
All right, Kevin,
Okay,
thanks.
so,
You guys
See
are
you,
welcome.
Gene.
bye-bye, guys, thanks very
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so
What, okay?
why don't we, it's not on the agenda, but Laura is here, and the RRA, it's a really interesting dynamic again, because the RRA is looking to basically increase their costs to us, despite the fact that they,
Pure monopoly.
despite the fact that they, $2.3 million
No.
profit, it's crazy.
And despite the fact that they stole our waste from us that we were making money from.
I have a question for you.
That
Laura.
hurts.
Here's
Yes,
my
sir.
question.
So this is coming under department reports, just so you
So
know.
can you,
The references in their report to the private revenue stream that they developed for themselves. Did you see that in the letter?
They did make reference to it. Susan authorized me to go to the Town Supervisor Association meeting, and I believe what they're referencing is the
here's what-
commercial haulers.
Here's what I want you to explain to me, where they say, the cost to service the municipalities is substantial, and monies used to support this service are being diverted from agency revenues generated from the private sector. So they're saying that, I guess currently, they're using that money they generate from the private sector to offset or subsidize municipalities, and yet they still make over $2 million. And now what they want to do is stop diverting that extra income from the private sector? Is that what they're trying to do? And let
That's
the
what they're trying to
municipalities
say.
stand on their
Yeah.
own, aren't they?
Yeah, what they kept saying over and over again is that the municipalities are a money-losing business. And
We're not a
they were
business.
substantially damaging containers, and basically that the municipalities are now being subsidized by the private sector. Supervisor Chipman disagreed with that because up until 2 years ago, the towns were actually paying more to have their garbage removed and pull fees than the private haulers were. It was only 2 years ago that the private haulers were increased by 25%. So their tip fees were anywhere from $67 to $75 a ton, and it went up to $100.
Which
The
private-
towns
Now
are
it's
paying
gonna be 85.
substantially more than that.
We're paying like 85,
Yeah.
right?
more than market?
Well, the agencies market. The towns were paying more than private haulers were. They had put or pay agreements, and they were substantially less than the town was paying as a tipping fee. Plus, the agency gets the revenues from all of our recyclables. So they get the cardboard, the plastics, whatever it goes for. It can be as high as 150 a ton for cardboard. We've been offered 3 to 4 cents a pound by outside entities. However, we are locked into a contract in perpetuity pretty much until 2023 or until they're done with their bonds. So we can't, take anyone up on their offers to sell our recycling separate, at least not the mandatory
That's just the
material.
recycling piece.
Right.
So this says that they're $72,000 short, and the new rate structure will cost us how much more next year?
It'll cost the town of New Paltz a little bit, around $13,000.
Right, so that's just one town. How many towns are there?
That's one town. There are 21.
All right, so it's 21
Yeah,
towns,
I
and they're
believe
saying
they
that,
service anywhere from 18 to 21.
they're saying their financial loss was only 72,000,
But they made $2.3 million.
and now they're gonna charge us, how much just in town of New Paltz?
13,000.
More.
So
But then-
we
but-
charge everyone comparable 13,000.
Right, and
They're gonna make up their 72,000.
Make it up. It'll be made up with 4 towns, 5 towns.
Right, but also,
New
but
Paltz
they-
disposal costs are half of what Gardner's was.
but see, also what they're trying to, what they want to do is, they want to raise everybody's rates, but New Paltz, we just take it from a recycling center right down the road. There's no transportation cost, because we're not taking it up, taking it further. When they go to Gardner and other places, they have to travel to go to Gardner to pick up or whatever. So, but they want to raise, and Kingston and New Paltz will be the 2 losers in what they're trying to do, because they want to raise us up with everybody else, but we aren't, there's no cost incurred with us. You know what I'm saying?
Not for the garbage. Right.
Yeah.
So instead of spreading the cost on you have to spread the cost
Percentage.
using a different method,
Correct.
right? Instead of
Correct.
treating everybody the same, maybe you treat it on how many miles they have to haul for each town.
And they've been doing it this way for years because New Paltz is right next to a transfer station, whereas Denning and Hardenberg, I think they figured it was $235 round trip for them to haul containers from there. But also in the discussion of flow control, they specifically addressed those 2 municipalities because within their flow control legislation, they have the right to designate it, to send it to designated facilities. And that left them the option to send Denning and Hardenberg to Delaware or Sullivan, whoever would take it.
You know, it's interesting, because they mean, this is just they are a board, they can choose, but after much discussion, it was concluded that the portion of the agency's business that services the municipalities must be self-supporting and thereby must not be financially subsidized. Well, why can't it be subsidized? Because, I mean, it was the county government that gave them flow control so they can be assured that they would make their,
Right.
make their money and stuff. Why can't they subsidize municipalities? And why shouldn't they with flow control?
Stinks.
It's
That was
saying-
a general consensus.
Just so you know, you're talking to
Yeah.
the wrong person. Susan said it's saying how many years ago?
Oh, back in 1996 when I was,
This stuff is usually fraught with all kinds of games, too.
Kev?
Garbage games.
Kevin, we spent so much money on this already. My first from 1996 to 2000, when I was supervisor the last time around, I can't tell you how much time was spent on the RRA. How much time was spent on the RRA. And we were the only, I mean, because we had the transfer station and also had the transfer station,
Correct.
but we were the only one who was holding their feet to the fire. I mean, it was just constant.
Making sure they had insurance, making sure they paid host community benefits, which you had to do again.
Oh, what about when we found out we supposedly had insurance? I got a tip from Hingy's office that they didn't think we had insurance. I can't tell you how much time, and we ended up having to call an insurance agent down in South America someplace, and ended up finding out that we actually were not insured. I can't even begin to go back and tell you what we've dealt with kind of stuff. So, not to say, that the agency isn't better now and that things
They're
aren't going
trying,
well.
they're trying, but they're only
trying, but-
in compliance because they've been caught. I mean,
Right, they got
they're
nailed.
under a modified consent order, so they spend $19,000 a year for a DEC monitor to patrol their sites. Of course, we get caught up in that because we're right next door to them.
Well, maybe what we
So
should
we
do
have to
is
be way
invite our
above
two
board.
county legislators to come to next week's meeting, and, you know, maybe we should,
That's a good
invite,
idea. Also, the
legislators.
Environmental and Energy Committee, that Tracy Bartels chairs, it might be a good idea to
So
have
see if we
New
can
Paltz
invite the three,
representation
just
there.
invite the three of them,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah, Supervisor Chipman's also open to having a group of towns come together and come up with some ideas to present, which the agency kept offering, but then shot everything down during that meeting. I mean, one of the options was a bidding consortium like BOCES has, where all of the towns would get together and go out to bid to see if they could find a cheaper rate. Yes. Yeah.
They're doing that with restaurants now.
Yep. The cute thing is, though, a lot of these haulers will not bid against each other. So if one comes out and says they're bidding, the other two probably won't.
Fix.
We have to go to Jersey.
And then, of course, one of the suggestions by Rosendale supervisor was to bulk buy the containers, because they wanted $85 a month rental. They said they're amortizing their containers over a 10-year period, and they're between $5,000 and $7,000 a container. I figured out we'd be paying over $10,000 though over the course of 10 years. So they want $85 a
How
month
much is
rental
a
on these
container?
containers that we're mandated to put our recycling in and give it to them. And they want a 10-year contract, which is open-ended. The 10-year contract will specifically say, we pay the tipping fees, we pay pull fees, we give them the mandatory recycling, but we can't hold them to a price. So it could triple next year.
Right, right. Kevin, you need to rewrite it for us.
Oh my God, you know how much work this is?
Just rewrite the contract, and then Susan will fight it, because she's a fighter.
We need to get a committee of residents together to help with this work. We need some community volunteers to help with this.
that's,
There is
that's
an
not gonna,
option
that's
in our
not, that's not gonna help with the
contract
RA.
to set up a committee, isn't there, Susan?
Let's
In
bring-
our
let's-
contract, isn't there an option for the town to set up a committee?
I don't
For
remember.
the agents, I'll look at that again.
Okay.
Oh, to like
Can
go to all
call
their
them.
meetings and to, oh, did you just say call them out? Oh,
No, it's
Call them out.
this is
Right,
an
so we're
important,
gonna have-
this is important crossroads for both municipalities and the agency. I therefore encourage you to explore all options available to you, such as closing the municipality's MRDC. So now they're trying to get the towns to close their transfer stations, right?
Yeah. We have
Meaning
1,000
everybody has to
customers.
take their garbage
well,
up
we
to
can't do that
Kingston.
anyway,
They're
because you
creating a
love it.
monopoly.
Merging, they have a monopoly because it's flow control. They have the monopoly. The legislature already gave it to them. Merging the municipalities, which Laura and I once were, but we no longer are. Merging the municipalities MRDC with another municipality, MRDC, which we can have Rosendale and Gardner become part of ours. Go out to bid for hauling services and or operation of the MRDC, or purchase a new used roll-off truck and roll-off boxes and use the municipality's current DPW staff to transport the MSW and CD and recycling. It is possible that after the municipalities explore such
Does he
options,
pull it? He doesn't
enough
pull
may
it?
choose not to renew their
Paul
contract
does.
with the agency that would cause the agency to reevaluate if it will continue its roll-off operations, thereby sell off its roll-off trucks and roll-off boxes. In any case, the agency would like to come to some conclusion by August 15th in order for the budget to be submitted in time and manner to the county exec's office. So they're really saying,
What they're
close
saying,
this.
we're gonna think of a way to force you guys to buy your own trucks so that we can bill you the following year as much with less overhead.
Why
And
can't
if
we
you get
just,
rid of the trucks, you get rid of the drivers, you get rid of a lot of overhead.
but why can't we just take the stuff, why can't we just drive the stuff down the block?
Yeah.
We
Why
take
can't
the
we just-
garbage there already, so we save on the pull fees. So we will save on that. The 13,000 is what I figured for the recycling. Now, the recycling would have to go to Kingston. And I just ran it past Chris, and actually between a driver and fuel and maintenance, $62 is pretty close. I mean, it's 32 miles round trip.
And it's gotta go to Kingston.
Yeah, that's where they designated it to go.
Definitely bring our county legislators to our next meeting.
But it could go to the New Paltz transfer station if
If they had a recycling center there, if they had, yeah.
Well, I
Which
think-
I bet you could rally some of the haulers for that. And we had Royal Carting actually came in a couple of times and brought us their single stream recycling. Because with the new flow control, when they were at Orange County, they had to turn around and come back and dump at New Paltz so they could dispose of Ulster County waste. And then they had to drive all the way back down to Newburgh to take the recycling. But it was, logistically, we couldn't handle it. It was a lot, and it was a mess. But they could, I mean, they've got room there. It's 189 acres there. There's a business.
Well, so Carl's gonna set up a committee, Carl Chipman, the supervisor of Rochester, who is the chair of the monthly supervisor meetings that we have every month at the Olympic Diner at 8:30 in the morning. So he was supposed to put together a committee for supervisors to sort of figure out where we go with this. I will invite our legislators to come. I hope they will accept the invitation. I will invite Tracy Bartels to come. Hopefully she will accept the invitation. And then we'll just, I guess, keep trying to figure out where we're going to go from this.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I mean, the only option is raising fees, which is
well, that's what I
hard to
said.
do.
Hector and Ken, and then we were going to invite Tracy too because she's in charge of. So hopefully, yeah, but that's because she's the chair of.
She's the chair, right?
Environmental and energy, I think they changed it to.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll do that. But this is, I mean, it's just insane. You know, the county legislature gives them flow control, and then they say that we should be self-sustaining.
And I still don't have a feel for the
And they
recycling.
make $2.3 million profit, but we should be self-sustaining.
Well,
You know,
Mr. Kimball wrote about it, and he was questioning the same thing.
Yeah, well, too bad he's not here tonight to write about us agreeing.
Now, the DEC thinks there might be legislation in Albany regarding flow control over recyclables. I can't find anything online. That would be detrimental, because then that would take over everything, our scrap metal, our waste oil, anything that we can get a revenue on. That'd be pretty scary.
What's that?
And then they would mandate that we pay.
Stripping the local
It would be,
municipality.
it's a
Everybody's
change to the public authorities law.
Okay.
And
They're
the change
desperate
would
for
be,
our waste.
it originally reads excluding recyclable material of value or scrap metal. And they want to take out the word excluding. So it would include all solid waste, including recyclables of value. So it would be organics, it would be brush, it would be leaves, I mean, whatever they felt they wanted. And I'm assuming they'd cherry pick and take the best of the best. I mean, waste oil, including vegetable oil,
What if
we
you
get
sold it
65 cents a
first?
gallon. Huh?
What if you
What if I sold it different?
first? No, you were talking about the metals before, and you were talking about the metals and stuff, so.
Right.
Even if they remove the word, so then if it comes into you and you sell your scrap first, that's your revenue. If
Right,
you have any
right.
left over that nobody chooses to buy from Laura in New Paltz, then they can buy it.
I don't know how that would work with flow control, though. Because if it's generated at the household, and then we are then collecting it, so they have ownership over it at the household. That's what flow control is, anything generated in Ulster County. That's the scary part.
What garbage you generate in Ulster County stays in Ulster County.
That's right.
Because it's valuable.
Well,
I mean, that's what we're doing now, we sell it.
right.
But they're gonna take all our revenue, but they tax it, but they give
So,
tax exemption
Do you
to sales
just have to
tax on
sell
corporate
it
jet,
in
on
Ulster
private
County
jets.
then?
Yeah, and then
No way the flow control is written. It would have to go to a facility designated by them.
No, see, then they get the money.
Then they get the money.
I'm trying to prevent that.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Because we wouldn't be preparing the materials for them the way we are now. You know, we take out the copper, we take out
Right.
the aluminum, and, you know, we're certainly not gonna put our best foot forward so they get more revenue for it.
Right, absolutely.
And then the question is, too, they don't have a facility. And by law, they wouldn't be able to contract with a private facility because there then is a public authority taking this recyclable material and giving it to a private sector.
So why don't we?
So I don't even
Why don't we
know-
do a land lease for a portion of our facility and charge them for the use and have that offset any losses we have?
Yeah, put the lawyer in charge.
What?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. We could always kick them out of the transfer station, too.
Why don't we do that?
Take the whole thing over.
The transfer station that they have on, next door?
On Clearwater Road.
How do we kick them out?
I'll have to take a look at the contract. Want to take a look at the contract?
Take a look.
There you
There's
go.
always gray areas in law.
And in life.
Now, just so, when I first came in, I had gotten elected, but I wasn't in office yet, and the town board approved the contract with the trip. First time. Very, very, very first time.
First time.
If and when I leave, I'm not sure I'll come back, but this was the very first time. And I had won, but I wasn't inaugurated. At the next meeting, the town board adopted the contract for the transfer station. Then a couple weeks later, before I was inaugurated, this town was served with an Article 78. And so I started my term basically negotiating with the RRA for that transfer station, getting them out of the wetlands, protecting the kids, for the soccer fields, and we spent months and months and months and months on that contract.
Chris, can you run a transfer station?
Okay, what's,
He didn't say no.
Just think of what you said.
There seems to be money in it, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anything else, Laura, that you want to report on?
I don't think so, except for some of the site development. I had mentioned in lieu of this, raising costs, and Kevin said, please don't find other revenue sources. We've been meeting with a group of folks. We're looking at a project that we've dubbed the White Elephant Project. Essentially, we'll be putting up a building with earthship-like materials. So it'll be cob, which is in adobe. It'll be tires. It'll be glass. It needs to go through the building inspector. It has to have an architectural stamp on it. But it won't cost anything, and I think there's some grant opportunities there. And it'll be another place to store more stuff, since the building's getting pretty full. It seemed really large when it, 40 by 50 foot, but it's full. And I don't know. So that's the only other thing. And that's at the back of your.
Okay.
And if you want to come out and help pack dirt into tires, come on out.
Thanks, Laura. Laura
Okay,
also
that's
did a zero waste event on Saturday where
That was
she
fun.
had a lot
Thank
of
you for
people out.
coming
Oh, you're
out.
welcome. It's great. It's really amazing what they have out there. So anyway, why don't, before we just wrap up with a couple of things, and we have to have a motion to go into executive session for litigation and land acquisition and contract negotiation, where Jeff and I have to do an update to the board on our negotiations with the Teamsters. So
We're not
before
done yet.
before we do that, just very quickly, first I just want to take a moment to really thank Deputy Supervisor Jeff Logan and Highway Superintendent Chris Marks for the extraordinary effort they've done to go above and beyond to open the pool. We've had a lot of problems with the pool. They've been there morning, noon, and night, working and working and working to get the pool open. And they got the pool open. We still have problems with the kiddie pool, but they're out there all the time working on trying to figure out how to get the kiddie pool open and operational. And I just really need to thank the two of them. And I think everybody in the community should thank the two of them, because I'm here, I see it, and they are there all the time, morning, noon, and night, in the rain, in the sun. And so thank you both for everything you've been doing. And the fact that we got the pool open a week late when you thought it was going to be closed for the summer was pretty remarkable. We're trying to get the kiddie pool open as soon as possible, but it's not that simple. But I don't know, Jeff, if you want to add anything, or?
The only thing is, Chris and I were out there very early this morning in the rain, almost swimming. We did get the small slide repaired in the rain, and then the sun came out. Hence why I'm a little red on the forehead here. And then we had an engineer meet us out there, an actual PE meet us there from a pool company for the small pool. If Chris has not completed one of the tasks that we're going to complete today when we leave here, Chris and I will be going back to the small pool tonight to...
Fill up Jello?
Do we need to go back to the pool again tonight to complete the one? We had one other task of getting some of the water level down to try a repair, which we will work on over the next few days, and hopefully have the kiddie pool open sooner than later. But I do not want to give a date or make any promises at this moment. But we do have the slide working. We're working on getting a second slide in. Everything else down there is operational. The picnic benches are all in. The grass is green. The trees have leaves on them. The playground is open. I encourage all to come down and enjoy what is an asset that most communities around us do not have, and at a very reasonable rate. And if there's any questions, please feel free to call our pool. They're there on weekends starting this weekend. Next week they will be closed, and then the following weekend we'll kick off the full-time hours at Moriello Pool, along with sign up for lessons. So thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, I've been real.
Thanks. Jeff has done all the work of getting that slide repaired. We made the connection. We got this individual over who showed us that it can be done cheaply, and we don't have to
Buy a new sign.
We will still be buying another one though, but we actually now have a contact that will get us one at a much reduced
But if it
cost.
wasn't for Jeff, we would have gotten one.
So thank you for everyone understanding though. We're doing what we can.
Yes,
So thank
absolutely. You guys are
I look
working-
forward to seeing everyone down there.
You guys are working really, really hard. Okay, so to wrap up with a couple of things, so do you want to do the minutes
Can I-
and, go ahead.
So we got something from the bookkeeper where she asked us to rescind the motion we made on April 25th. Rescind the motion to allocate $31,650 from the Parkland Recreation line in the B Fund for the Norberto construction bill for Moriello Pool.
Are you making
In
that motion?
her, I'm making that motion.
Okay, I'll
Could we
second it.
rescind that
Yes.
as
Second.
recommended by the accountant?
Yep. Second. Or Kevin already seconded.
All in
What-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But you're going to keep going? I mean, just
Well-
quickly, because there's more stuff with it, right, that we have to do? So
Not
just,
with that, no, I just wanted to do this particular one.
Just the highlighted
Um,
one.
the other one is not specific enough for
okay.
tonight, the one
Okay.
above it.
Just so everybody understands, I mean, we do get this money from our parkland. When the developer does development, they have to give a certain amount of money for parkland. And there was a lot of money in the account prior to Kevin, myself, and Jean coming on. When Jeff was on the board, there was a lot of money, $83,000 that was moved against Kitty and Jeff's. They voted no, but money got moved, but then all the money didn't get spent. And now we're trying to clean up what money was spent, what is spent, move money back, and then allocate the money for what we need to do for everything we've been doing with the pool, the Field of Dreams, and everything else. So we're trying, really hard to get all the bookkeeping in order, straight, taken care of, and there's still a lot of work that we're uncovering and that has to be done. And the irony of it was we were trying to figure this out and see where and when this money got spent so we could figure this out. I found a newspaper article when we were moving that told us where to go and where to look, and that's how we figured this out. So what else? Is there anything else about that?
No, it's the other one, which is, I'd like to make a motion to approve a budget modification to increase the 2014 budget for the first quarter cash receipts from the new Paltz Central School District. It's revenue that was received to compensate the town for the expense of the school crossing guard. So I'd like to increase the A fund revenue line 2389 by 1,197 and increase the A 3124.4, which is the police department where we pay for the crossing guard outing.
Arlene, I'm sorry, Rosanna, did Arlene give you actual copies of this?
I'll give you mine.
Okay, so you give hers and we can keep these, so. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried. Okay, you want to do the next one, Jean?
What next one?
Well, we have these.
What? I don't have these.
Oh, you know what, we worked on those this afternoon here. These are brand new. That just-
Although I did ask her if she was going to make copies for Jean.
Yeah, these
But
are
that's okay.
these are from this afternoon, Gene.
Okay,
Well,
this
then
is-
maybe
this is-
you want to do them if you're more familiar.
These are from this afternoon, and
Yeah.
these came also via from some stuff Linda is doing.
This is, Linda's working this out, and this is how she wants us to allocate different things, and
So this is a budget modification for the 2014 budget in the amount of $1,700 for public safety and for the COP program.
So this is money that, this is grant money. The Attorney General is, made money available to municipalities for that, for when there's a heroin overdose and they give you that drug.
It's called Community Overdose Program. I apologize. COP is Community Overdose Program.
And so we ended up getting money from the Attorney General to do this program, and Newport's qualified. So this is money coming in, so we're increasing the revenue line and increasing the expense line to compensate for this money.
Can I just give you copies of these? I won't read the lines. We'll give you copies. So I'd like to increase the line $1,700 and do the expense line at $1,700.
And then I'll make you a copy and give you the actual, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next one.
This was the two highway. Actually, no, these were all, and these were from Chris for highway, and actually, I'm gonna make copies because these need to go into your folder.
Yeah.
This is for lease payments for debt service, and really all we're doing is increasing a line because of we didn't put the lease payments into the correct part of the 2014 budget for lease payments.
Well, what Linda
Okay,
wants,
so it's a budget modification
It's a budget.
just to transfer the money, not to increase the
but
budget.
no, it's not just that, though.
Not just that, but
We're
yeah.
creating, what Linda wants to do, and she was trying to get it done for a long time and it didn't get done, was, because it's a lease, it's actually a debt. So it was never reflected
Right.
in a line, in the debt line. So she's putting it, showing it as a
She
liability.
created a new
So what
line.
we're
Right.
gonna get a .6 line now?
Right,
So
no,
the
she
0.6
created a new
Right,
line that
right.
didn't exist at
Right.
the town of New Paltz.
Right, so it'll be a DBB line,
Right, but existed everywhere else.
existed
Yes.
everywhere
Yeah,
else.
I know.
So it'll be a .6, thank you. We knew you would get this right away.
Right.
So we're asking for an increase of $116,000.
No, a transfer
Right.
I
of
apologize.
$106,000
It's,
from the DB.
yes,
James.
it's actually an increase, it's not a transfer, because you're
No.
increasing the line, you're transferring it.
Well, you're transferring it, but then you're gonna get the money
Right,
in
yes,
from
Right.
the recycle and interfund revenue.
Right, it's interfund
And it's
transfer.
gonna be, so
You'll see on the
that
second
all of
sheet,
the money
yeah.
will be in the DB.
Yes, it will be,
Right, it'll be
DBB.
whole.
Right.
It'll be
DBB.
it'll be a
Right.
DBB line,
So that's what
.6.
you-
Right.
Yep,
So increase,
I wish you'd love it.
the expense line 9789.6, which is the leasing line, $116,000, and decrease
Possibly.
5110.4 by 58,000, which was Chris's share of the equipment, and decrease 5142.4, 58,000.
Roseanne, we'll give you copies.
Which is yours?
Which is, no, it's Chris's,
One of his truck, either with
the
the
one
truck.
is
It's a lease
general
payment.
Lease
maintenance.
payment.
Right, and it was where we put the pieces of the equipment.
Mhm.
And then, and
Well, okay.
is this hers?
Yeah,
That was
it's-
that was the excavator. And all had to come out of
we have to do two things. This is, so first
Right.
let's vote on this, so all in favor. Who made the motion? You made the motion, Jeff seconded it, right, Jeff?
Yep, second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Motion so carried.
Aye.
Okay,
Now, this is,
Auditor suggested we done like that?
yes.
right,
Splitting it?
right.
Well, now,
So
now,
here's
now,
the
now,
second half.
well, this is the next one we're up
This is the
to.
second piece.
Properly account for the excavator lease payments as debt.
So just to explain real quickly, right now, the way the excavator was done, it was shared by recycling and shared by highway.
Yep.
And so it was in both their budgets, but only the highway can own the piece of equipment. It can't be split by two departments. So all the money has to be put into the highway line, reflected in the highway line, and we have to make an interfund transfer to take the money out of the recycling line and put it over into the highway revenue with the highway
So now
expense.
Laura's paying Chris.
Yes,
That's
right.
So we are increasing the highway 2801, which is interfund revenues, 13,762, which is Laura's share. That'll be transferred in. And we are increasing the other debt principal line, 9789.6, in Chris's fund, the 13,762. We're going to decrease general repairs 8189.2, which is his equipment line, by $14,000, and we're going to decrease. increase other debt principal 9789.6 by $14,000. And that's because they switched the where we budgeted it in the .4 line, now it's moved to the 9789. It's moved. It's not an increase, it's just a transfer from a contractual expense to the lease payment line.
Right. So you made the motion?
I made the motion.
Jeff, you wanna say-
Second.
Any discussion? You guys want to discuss this? All in favor? Motion so carried. And then
Gene, this is from Linda Hannigan. This is the interfund transfer for fuel.
okay, so now what the
So,
fuel stuff is, the way the fuel stuff works is that everybody puts the fuel into their own line, because Stacy goes up there, the building inspector goes up and gets gas, the police go up and get gas, so it was in their line, and then it used to get subtracted out, but the outside auditor wants it done in a certain way, so the bookkeeping is again more on top of it, and so this is what she's asking us to do.
So if you look at the second page, Gene, we created an invoice, so it's directly invoiced from Chris invoicing the departments for reimbursement. So it makes it an interfund transfer.
Yeah, but this invoice is for $2,382.90.
Which is the total of all the expenditures, so that also includes the 23 and change, includes also the highway portion of it. So
Oh, this is just Chris's
Chris's.
portion of the fuel.
you got it,
Okay.
exactly.
So the total fuel bill billed back to the town, not Chris, is $2,382.90, and the highway department's fuel costs apparently are $871.24. The town fuel usage reimbursement to the highway fund for the first quarter of 2014. So this is for apparently snow removal, because we're going to increase the revenue line 2801, which is interfund revenue, and we're going to increase 5142.4, which is snow removal contractual expense, and deposit the 871.24.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. I think that is...
No, there's one more.
Oh,
This is actually a fun one. You'll like this one. This is a guy hit and ran over one of our fire hydrants, and he paid us back for it, and a copy of the check is in there.
Right.
This is
You should like
bad.
that one.
Yes.
He ran over a fire hydrant, we repaired it, he paid us back for it.
So this is to accept the money, and
And you'll see
I
the
forgot
check.
about that one, yeah.
And you'll see the check is attached there.
Get all those numbers.
Okay. So this is a budget modification to increase the budget for a fire hydrant replacement. The cost was due to a vehicle accident on January 25th, and the expenses were paid out of Water One, but they were reimbursed by the person who did the damage. Therefore, we would like to increase the Water One 2690 other compensation for loss by $647.86. We want to increase 8340.4 transmission and distribution by $647.86.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion so carried.
The other thing that we worked on today too, and you would like also, is the establishment of escrow accounts. We have that about, 75% complete. We are establishing the accounts at the bank, and once we have the accounts established at the bank, we'll now be able to track them through our admin system. We
Yeah,
hope to have this
She
complete.
talked to me about that. We
Yeah, but-
started talking about it, but she blew my mind.
Yeah,
And,
it blew my mind today. So we,
whatever we have at the bank, I think it's an old system. I think we can modify it somewhat. a
Yeah, we
little bit.
will.
there will be some more modification transfers that we're going to have to do. I discussed it with her this afternoon. She has the bank actually working on it this week, so maybe as early as next week we'll have the account set up. And then once we have the account set up, then we will transfer the funds over. She's identifying the funds and setting them up. So going forward, an example being, should Back to the project that we will be establishing, though, as the town board, though, the escrows.
She told me
Okay.
that you could not write a check out of the escrow account in the past. So all you could do is transfer, unless I
Yes.
misunderstood.
No, in the past,
So all you could do is transfer
Yes.
back into the funds.
yes.
Well,
We are
it's also-
changing that, though.
Yeah, that would be,
Yes.
that would be ideal.
The
But it's
change
also-
will be that you will be then drafting off of the actual escrow account.
Pulling it right out. Yeah.
It'll be
But we
drafted
also-
off, and so they will, and the bank absolutely has no problem if we set up accounts and then close them again in a short period. I know, we'll get you again.
But there,
No,
no,
I
but,
mean, I just,
no, no, no.
history is
the-
Oh,
just
no,
remarkable.
Oh,
no, no.
That's what I'm laughing at.
The
Well, no,
escrow
no,
I've
account-
been laughing too, I'm with you.
No, it's not, it's even more because,
No.
because what you also have to, well, also, nothing's ever that simple, because even with this Edmunds thing that we bought for the escrow, there's still a problem. I mean, there's gonna have to be an extra step that has to be
The
done.
answer was, it was always simple. It was done in a simple way in the past, right? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm
Instead of
saying
a
is,
sophisticated way?
what I'm saying is we bought this escrow account, so, through Edmunds, so we could start to manage the money properly manage the money, okay? But it's never just that simple, because we do the escrow, we do everything through vouchers. So the Edmunds escrow account doesn't have something set up to do via vouchers, so there's like an extra step that has to be done, that's gonna have to be manually done.
Oh
in
my
order for
God.
this escrow, it's, yeah.
The
And we
good
also-
news is once we get the escrow
Right.
account set up, we believe the
Yeah.
process will not be as complex
And we
once the
also-
town board establishes.
We can
But
do a
then-
manual journal entry
yeah.
to the escrow system over
Yeah,
here
yeah. And then we have to
that
do.
matches.
Yeah. And
Yes.
we're also gonna have to set up, well, I don't know if you were told this, Jeff, we also are gonna have to set up a construction escrow account. So after a project is approved and it starts to go through the building phase, that there needs to be money in
Please
that.
make that a separate escrow account.
It's
A
going.
whole different bank account.
I understand that, it's gonna
Okay.
be a separate
And it
escrow
will be,
account.
yes.
It's gonna be a separate escrow account that we have to set up, so after a project gets approved, but before they get the building permit, that there's money there for whatever work we need to do for the, for the inspections, the engineer, the whatever. And then
Until we
simultaneously, what we also have to do is when we get money for, like, you know how we're drawing down and we're always giving back money at the end? The money that we're given, what's the term? It's not a security, it's not a bond. The
Deposit?
No, the bond or the, when we get like a $250,000 for the road and for this and for that.
Oh, but we bond the road, we bond, yeah.
There was whatever that.
we
A
do- we take-
security bond.
The security
We
bond.
take a
kind of thing.
bond on the
That
road.
bond, right now, the way it's been done in the past, okay, was the bond was there, and then we were drawing down and paying from the bond, and then at the end, like next week, on the, you'll see, the Abernester escrow or something, we're gonna be giving back X amount of money. Technically, that money is their money there if something goes wrong. We're never supposed to draw down from that money. We're supposed to be drawing down from the construction escrow account, and then that money should usually be returned in whole
Right.
unless they default. So there's a lot of things that are being put in place to
Okay.
make sure everything's done right.
Okay.
Okay, what's next?
Minutes.
I've got a quick one too, that Laura handed to me. I believe that when we approved posting for municipal worker one, we approved it at the wrong rate. Am I correct?
1724, it should have been 34.
Should have been
That
set.
was my error.
Okay. So can we, I'm not sure how we do this, Robert Rules of Order, can amend that the rate is 1734, not the 1724? that we
Second.
originally-
Is that municipal work, it's municipal worker one and not
Municipal worker
attended?
one.
No, we don't have a job description for it. I would go back to that whole, we
Right.
don't want to do that
She's
now.
right, we took it out.
Well, yes and no, we didn't take it out.
We didn't
but,
take Different discussion.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion's carried. The minutes,
I can do the minutes.
list of minutes. Did everybody read them? Okay, motion for the May 22nd meeting. You were absent.
Yeah, but I might, is this,
We were before
Which
you
one
were
are you
absent
on?
at this meeting.
no, if I pop in the middle,
Oh. I don't think you did.
don't think I did this. I think this is the one I was.
You might have
No,
popped in this one.
this was too late in the month.
Right, you might have popped in on this
I
one.
was busy.
Okay, let's do it first.
That's the
May
one I
15th
popped in.
May 15th, does somebody want to make, I'm going to make a motion to move the May 15th minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carried. I'll make a motion to move May 22nd. Somebody want a second?
Second, which one was that?
May 22nd.
Yes.
All in favor? That's when we establish the escrow accounts.
Yep.
All in favor?
I abstain, Rosanna.
Motion is so carried. Okay, June 4th, that was a special meeting, and Dan, you weren't there. I'll move
move
those.
it.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is so carried. And June 16th. We were all here.
I'll
It was
move
a
it.
special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is so carried. And this is the one where you corrected the...
Yes, that was Monday nights.
Right.
There's also a set of joint minutes from May 28th that you all got as well.
I read them. I'll move them.
Well, I don't have them in my packet, so I don't
Okay.
know.
Are they on our
Oh, but I wasn't there, so it doesn't matter. That was the meeting probably...
Oh, yes, I remember that. It was pretty short.
Right,
Beginning of the
right.
agenda.
Yeah, I'll second it.
I don't think you were there.
You
I
weren't there.
wasn't there. I
You and
was
I-
in that
Just the
motion.
three of us.
I will, I'll make the motion to accept the joint meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Dean and I abstain because
Yes,
we
we
weren't
do.
there. Okay, so does somebody want to move the warrant?
Oh, I'll make a motion to, yeah, hold on a sec. This water and sewer thing? Do you understand? What is this? I just got it. It was last minute, it wasn't in the morning.
DEC
You
did
know
to
what it is?
special district, DEC did report due to the funds.
Does anybody
Town of New
know?
Paltz Water and Sewer Department. Well, I didn't sign it, I'll re-sign it, so I haven't, let me see, what is this? The receipt A, sewer reported, no due from because receipt or reported in the special district. So she's moving from,
Well, here's the thing. I think, I'll do it. I'll just,
okay.
okay, now. I just want the police department, Del Marketing, the 3,000. We're charging it to the lease line, okay?
Okay, so what you're talking about?
The 3,300, whatever, is being
Of the
charged
lease.
to the lease line, okay? That's what the voucher says. We don't have money in there, and we haven't resolved exactly the funding for it. I'm just pointing that out. I'll sign it because we're charging it to the lease line, because now it is a lease, it's gonna continue to be a lease. So, that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the warrant.
Second.
Or who, Dan?
I'll second it.
Dan, I
Okay, all in
apologize.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, so I think that's everything on the agenda except for, I need a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of talking about contract negotiation with the Teamsters and some land acquisition and litigation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion so carried. Thanks, everybody. We're probably not going to take any action when we come out, what do you think? We're not going to take any action,
I have these.
so
You know, I didn't bring my Teamsters.
I have to think you left those
Oh,
there.
good. Mine. That was mine?
You can leave it here.
I think mine, I might have stuck in it because I wanted to finalize my notes. And I usually-
Okay, well, I have mine here.
Well,
I
yeah.
usually do these right on the top.
Yeah, I usually do, but I think I threw mine in my bag.